Well, it's been a long time since I took any university courses. It's been a while since I was a university student, but one of the best things about university is being able to take elective classes. And I still remember one of the elective classes that I took as soon as I was 21, alcohol appreciation. It was a fun class, but for kids or students at the University of San Diego, the San Diego State University, they have another fun course that they can take if they're interested. This is the K-pop dance course. It is available for the very first time, and we have joining us in the studio who's going to be teaching that very course. Professor Oh Ji-yeon over at the San Diego State University joins us live in the studio. Professor, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
I have to say, when you came into the studio earlier, I was like, oh my goodness. We have a dance. You seem like a ballet dancer. He's like very majestic coming into the studio.
Thank you, because I was.
That's right. Very majestic, and that's right. You studied ballet. Mm-hmm. You also majored in contemporary dance. But what's interesting here is, again, not to obviously just you don't want to judge anyone by just the cover. I really thought you were a ballerina, but when did you start becoming interested in K-pop dance?
Right. So as a fan or as a listener, I basically grew up listening to the first generation of K-pop idols like H.O.T. or SES.
Yes.
And I remember when I was a middle school or high school student, I was studying ballet at Sunhwa Art School. That is one of the leading conservatory art school in South Korea. And whenever there's a festival, I was one of the cheerleaders. And the music we used was K-pop. And one of the reasons I really personally like New Jeans is that the outfit they are wearing today is precisely the outfit that I wore with my friends when I was cheerleading to K-pop. And I became a modern dance major at Ewha Women's University, and the university used to have the leading dance curriculum in the nation. And I found quite interestingly that a lot of K-pop or popular music choreography has taken resources from modern dance and contemporary or even traditional dance and vice versa. And in fact, a couple of friends of mine who've been trained in classical dance are now teaching at K-pop agencies or department that teach K-pop or the commercial dance curriculum. So I decided to write my master thesis on K-pop dance, particularly focusing on television commercial. And the singer that I analyzed include Ihyori and the Samsung smartphone commercial. And that was any cool commercial. That was such a sensational commercial. And as a PhD student at UT Austin, I found myself really becoming a fan of K-pop, especially watching YouTube choreography. So I wrote arguably the first dissertation on K-pop dance and then published a book titled The K-pop Dance last year that became the textbook of the courses that I'm teaching.
I need to hear more about this thesis paper because, you know what? I think this is the first time in the 3+ years in the 14 years that I've been doing broadcasting, I've ever asked anybody, I want to know more about your thesis paper.
Thank you.
But you mentioned Ihyori, and as soon as you said the cell phone, the any called, commercial and the dance, I had the vision in my head how the dance was. But what was it about that particular dance and that commercial that made you want to include into your thesis paper?
Yeah, and thank you for asking a question that is not on the list. My first driving force was that I think people spend more time watching dance on social media or television or film instead of going to a show in a live theater.
Right.
So I was like, then what about writing a thesis about television commercial? And if I remember correctly, there is one publication about television commercial and dance back then. And my focus was about gender representation, how the sexuality is represented through choreography, and why all these big companies like Samsung is using a dancer. because there's a symbols such as youth or attractiveness or being a charming person. All those qualities are best represented by a young dancer like Lee a couple decades ago. And now K-pop idols are replacing the role. That's why we have a lot of K-pop idols are appearing on television commercial. Yeah, I also talked about Chun Ji-hyun too. Why not?
No, because as you are talking about really some of the most iconic commercials with dances with these idols, Lee comes out, and again another Any Call commercial with Chun Ji-hyun, which you have to understand. I lived in the U.S. for most of my life, and I knew about these commercials. I knew about these dances and the music they were using and so forth. But let's talk about, I need to read your thesis paper later on, the full thesis paper. Let's talk about this dance course, the K-pop dance course that's going to be opening up at the San Diego State University. First and foremost, what is the exact name of the course? I'm wondering if it's really called just the K-pop dance class. I'm sure it might be another name for this. And what do you plan to teach the kids, the students, precisely?
Right. So the title is K-pop dance. My PhD dissertation has such a long title. So I learned it hard way that shorter title is better. It's 380. It is offered through humanities and arts education, general education. So it is one of the electives or some of the courses that they have to take before graduate. It also fulfills diversity requirement. What I like to provide is that because it is a lecture class, 3 units, it has a lot of, exam and writing paper, those components. I like to teach students the evolution of K-pop dance history precisely from 1980s to nowadays. And the second part of the course is about K-pop dance fandom. And now the second part is moving toward more participation, cover dance festival, as well as the why it's important to understand and analyze K-pop, especially K-pop dance fandom, because it's all about identity, sometimes racial identity, youth culture, and even sexuality. And I'm also very lucky to present a festival on campus. It is titled the K-pop Dance Night because it will be literally from like 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Because we have a annual festival on campus. It's called Aztec Night. So it is basically the celebration of
San Diego State University Aztecs, yes.
Yeah, the Native American heritage, and the K-pop Dance Night will be part of the Aztec Festival. So I'm very happy to prepare some of the cover dances with my students who are not necessarily professional dancers, but who are really passionate about performing and learning K-pop choreography.
This is remarkable. I am curious because I'm going to be here, unfortunately, and not in San Diego to check out the K Dance Night. But can you tell us maybe give us a hint as to what kind of songs you guys plan to cover?
I'm going to ask my students what they like to perform.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You should have them do 90s songs with the HOTs and the SESs and the Finkles and stuff like that. But I have to say, in some ways, I'm surprised that after all these years, I mean, we can argue that the popularity of K-pop has been relatively new, per se, and K-pop dance, the craze for K-pop dance was even, I guess, younger in some ways, right? But still, I was surprised that there was no school yet in the United States that had a course on K-pop dance. How did San Diego State University decide to open this course, first of all? And can you give us the process on how they also approached you? Was it your idea? Did they approach you? What exactly was the process like?
Right. I think it happened rather naturally because it is my research sort of expertise, and I publish it, top papers, book, and international conference presentation on K-pop dance. And the reason why scholarship is important is that whenever there is a class, we need the reading materials. And that's why publication matters. I think one of the reasons why despite the global popularity of K-pop dance, and because most of the university in the United States now have K-pop dance club. But the reason there is very few K-pop dance courses offered in the university is that we haven't had professors who studied K-pop dance. And it is especially true because I'm arguably one of the first person who have studied this field for a long time. But
Absolutely.
even for me, when I presented one of my dissertation chapter around a decade ago, I had like 4 people in the panel, presenters, and I think we had like 2 audiences because the topic was not popular. I have studied this field for a long time, but
Absolutely.
even for me, when I presented one of my dissertation chapter around a decade ago, I had like 4 people in the panel, presenters, and I think we had like 2 audiences because the topic was not popular at all, like literally at all. And I think some of the challenges that I've encountered is that K-pop is not canon. And it means a lot of things. First, it means that it is not Western tradition.
Right.
It is not Western modern or ballet or contemporary dance. It is also popular dance.
Right.
So again, despite the popularity, establishing a course, like especially big general education class, because my course could be up to 100 students, like Introduction to Sociology.
Right.
And it goes through entire level of the review committee and approval by the university. But gradually, I feel lucky that K-pop becomes bigger and bigger, especially after COVID-19, as a lot of entertainment migrated to the internet. So I think in addition to my scholarship and also the culture of SDSU supporting diversity,
Right.
as well as my students' interest, with all those efforts is made it possible.
It's remarkable, and just even I can imagine what the syllabus would look like, right? And it's not just go out there and dance, find the dance. You're really learning about the history, and it goes back. And that's the thing that we have a segment every Thursdays called Back to the Culture, where we talk about how the evolution of K-pop music, and we our listeners learn about the history of K-pop and some of the the people that changed the K-pop scene, like H.O.T. and the SESs, and the Sotejis and so forth that we grew up listening to. But even till today, someone who, like myself, I grew up in the U.S. for a very long time, and growing up, I would secretly listen to K-pop music because it was embarrassing. I didn't want to be caught. They'll be like, "What are you listening to?" I'm listening to Baby Vox, but I would say I'm listening to Eminem. Jay-Z is what I'm listening to, but I got Baby Vox's Killer going on and Get Up going on. I can't believe how popular it is, and so having a K-pop dance course being part of a regular curriculum at a prestigious school like the San Diego State University, how meaningful and how significant is that for you?
Yeah, as a historian, it means a lot. First of all, it means that the U.S. education is embracing more diversity, especially arts, because art is relatively more conservative because it relies on the body. Like if there's a teacher who is teaching ballet for 3 decades, it'll be really difficult to learn and then teach a new style. And that's why arts education is relatively more conservative. And the second significance is that there has been a general agreement, at least starting at SDSU, that studying K-pop dance actually benefits students' understanding of humanities. And I think that's why it's so important. And in fact, students can learn a lot of different topics, such as music business, how to be a YouTube creator and what it means to young people, the international collaboration of choreography and even identity and social activism. It's all part of K-pop dance fandom and choreography. And I think another thing I like to add is that there has been classes that address Korean wave, like K-drama, film, a little bit of music, but there has been no 3 units K-pop dance theory and practice class. So having said that, I'm happy to say that K-pop dance is now understood as an independent genre, that is worthwhile to spend a semester taking multiple exams and quizzes and viewing and creative activities.
And I almost feel like, and I don't know, maybe I haven't been a student for a really long time, but I almost feel like
class.
I would love, to be honest, if your grade isn't part of me actually dancing on stage, which I don't think I would, score very high on, if it's just based on the theory of Korean.
I look at students as effort, so.
I don't think if there's any performance involved, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to do very well. But theory-wise, I think I can do well. That's the thing, and I think this is going to be a very, very popular class. And I've heard even because sort of the whole Hallyu, the Korean wave, as it started, a number of colleges and universities started offering Korean language courses. And I remember even for me in Syracuse, there was a Korean language course, but no one took it. It was not a very popular elective course, but I heard that in many parts of the U.S. now, it's a very popular course, and it's, they basically fill up very quickly and so forth. And now we've come to the K dances. But I also heard, to make things quite interesting as well, K-pop artists will be teaching the classes as well. How did can you spoil us into give us a preview as into who and how this came about being?
Right. So it's a different class. I also teach at California State University. We have summer art. There is an international summer art program in collaboration with 23 all California State University. And I offer, that is actually next week.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm so excited.
Okay.
I'm almost over the moon. So I invite Elast, K-pop boy group Elast, and they are going to teach master class. And I also invite, and the reason I specifically title it as master class is that, this is serious. The reason is that every single K-pop song is exclusively choreographed for the idol.
Right.
And that's the biggest difference. Let's say we have Swan Lake in ballet. There's thousands of ballet dancers doing the choreography, but the original choreography isn't made for the dancers. But each single K-pop song is exclusively for the K-pop idol. So K-pop idol are the most original person who can teach the choreography. It also issues K-pop creator certificate from my research lab that is called Oni's lab. Do you know the Minions? Minions character.
Yes.
My husband always call me, you're like a Minions character, especially the purple one when they get upset. So we named our research lab Oni's lab because it advocates creativity and fun and exciting aspects. So students will get the creator certificate. The reason I'm offering this summer school is that because we don't have academic degree on K-pop, even if they are such a talented K-pop cover dancers, it's really hard to turn their hobby into an official career. But this class is 3 units that will count toward either their major or upper division elective. It will be on their transcript. They don't have to be SDSU students. They also have the official, more academic credential. So I'm hoping that there will be more curriculum in university as more and more people study and write a paper and dissertation about K-pop dance.
I wouldn't be surprised if, it starts off with the K-pop dance course, and then there'll be advanced K-pop dance courses, because that's usually how it goes, right? You have for example, I took acting courses in university. I had acting 101 and then advanced acting and so forth. And so I would not be surprised if there's K-pop dance 101 and then K-pop, advanced K-pop. It's going to be very, very popular. But I have to ask you, though, you've written an interesting by the way, I was doing a research on where to find your thesis paper, and I think I found it, which I'm going to read at home now.
Yeah, that's it.
Is this it?
Yeah.
From the University of Texas at Austin, K-popscape, gender fluidity and racial hybridity in...
What a title. In transnational Korean pop dance.
Yeah, I can tell why now your courses are short names and you're keep it very simple. This is what I'm going to read tonight, which is going to be interesting. As someone who've analyzed the K-pop dance very quickly here, what would you say? Is there any sort of song or dance that really stand out to you as really just a very impressive piece of art when it comes to dancing?
It's my personal preference,
Yes,
and
yes.
it changes over time.
Okay,
it
okay.
changes over time. But nowadays, I'm watching BTS, and because Jimin released a new single a couple months ago, I've been watching their videos. And of course, I also follow a lot of other K-pop idols too. One of the reasons I even have BTS's drawing on my book cover is that they represent the versatile aspect of K-pop dance, including modern dance, Korean folk dance, contemporary dance, and hip hop, and also K-pop. So yeah, I have to say BTS, but don't be upset, other K-pop fans.
No, what's
please.
interesting is that when BTS was rising to fame, there was a number of professional dance experts who came out and said that it's no surprise that BTS has become so famous is because when they analyzed their dances, they said it's so complex and it's nothing that they've ever seen before. I like to say, as a non-expert in K-pop dance, the one dance that was always the greatest dance in the history of all K-pop dance was Park Ji-yoon's 성인식. But that's just my personal opinion on this. We have a message in from Museum, one of our listeners, who talking about you, Professor O, reminds you of when SES Yujin debuted. I was saying that when she came in, honestly, I thought it was Kang Soo-ji.
They don't know who. Maybe they should know.
No. Some people know who Kang Soo-ji. We have a lot of Ajay listeners here, and so they know. But this is remarkable. I have to say, number one, congratulations on being able to teach a course like this, and I do wish you the best of luck. Any final message, maybe, to our listeners, or anything you want to leave?
Yeah, I'd like to address the last question
Yes.
that you shared. I think everyone is happy about the popularity of K-pop, but I think now it is not about popularity, but also, but rather to think what we, as artists or scholars or media people, what we can offer to the global K-pop fans who are not just consuming K-pop as an entertainment, but rather a lifestyle. Because K-pop now has a couple decades of history, so K-pop fans also get older. And a student of mine who will be my teaching assistant at CSU Summer Arts, her mom is BTS fan, and also she is a BTS fan. So they collaborate, they go to concert, they buy merchandise together. So it is a beautiful family memory and also their
Absolutely.
history. So I think it is time to think what beautiful vision or little paleontologist vision we can suggest, and how we can make the world a little better place to be through K-pop should be the question we can ask together.
And again, I think this is something that's not going to be a trend, because when we say it's a trend, it's popular for a brief moment of time and then it ends. I think this is going to be something that goes on, and I'm very glad that you're going to be teaching the theory aspect and the history of the K-pop dances as well. Professor O, I would love to have you in the studio once again next time, once your semester is done and over with, maybe get a look into how the courses work. But thank you very much for joining us this evening, and best of luck to you in the new course.
Thank you.